Welcome everyone. This is Race on Nords. It's Monday night. It's the PC League. We're round number 5. So we're about halfway through the season, and we are taking on the mighty Nordschleife tonight for round number 5. It's a 60-minute sprint. Doing things a little bit differently tonight. They're already in qualifying. It was a longer qualifying to make sure everyone could get a valid lap in. So we'll get to the action very, very shortly. Before I do, though, we've got a special guest. We've got Adrian Rice, who has joined us this evening. Adrian, how you going?
Yeah, good. Thanks for having me.
Welcome aboard. Looking forward to this one. So let's have a quick look at the standings. So last week, it was Terry Rayton who took out the race victory. That was his second in a row, so he leads the championship on 271 points. Max Ricca sitting there is second. He was second last week, 229. And Paul Russell rounded out the podium last week, and he's in the final podium position in the championship standings on 206 points. Andrew Lawrenson is back tonight. He's sitting fourth on 171. And you've got Brad Cook, Nando Latenzio in 5th and 6th. Chris Taylor sitting there in 7th on 144. 137 is Lee Perkins, followed by Matt Frost and Mark Hurley, rounding out the top 10 there. In terms of the silver and the AM classes, I've got the standings tonight, which is good. So Mark Hurley leading all silver drivers at the moment. Only just, though, 4 points, the difference between him and Neil Fakeney sitting on 156. Chris Taylor on 144 in third. Then you've got Chris Hildebrandt, who I do believe is back this evening, sitting there in fourth, so he'll be looking to add to his points. The man on comms with me, Adrian Rice, sitting there in fifth, and Matt Marsh and Brian Kong yet to open up their account for the season. In terms of the AM class, it's Lee Perkins leading the way, 137 points on top. Mark Stevens, 120 in second, and Wally Masterson sitting there in third. James Bridgens, fourth, Herbertron, fifth, Andrew Bonham, sixth, and Mike Lewin, seventh. So still all to play for in both the championships as well as the main championship as well. In terms of the track, it's pretty crazy. It is I haven't done my research on this, but it's over 100 corners. It's a very long lap. It's around about 9 minutes is the lap for mere mortals. They've been lapping it at 8 minute 14 so far this evening. So that's the track. It's the new DLC that came out a couple of weeks ago, and we're getting into it right now. So as you can see on the screen, so far it's Andrew Lawrenson sitting atop, 8 minute 14.402 lap. Adrian, what are your insights into this track?
Oh, it's a very hard track to learn, that's for sure. Still, Paulie was saying the other day, he still doesn't know where he is in the track from 1 minute to the next. It also very variable in grip. Some parts of the track seem to have a lot of grip. Other parts of the track you find yourself sliding around a lot. So it's about knowing when you can push and when you can't. And hopefully it all sticks together at the end of the lap.
Yeah, it is one of those sort of tracks where it's, we were talking about it off air earlier, a little bit about survival. And yeah, it's one of those confidence tracks where you can find yourself running out of tarmac quite quickly, just when you start to feel a little bit confident. Good to see Michael Easter back. He's, I think this is his second appearance for the season, so he usually does put up a pretty good challenge. He's usually running at the front end of the field. So good to see him making another appearance this evening. Nando Latenzio had a decent race last week. He finished fourth. In fact, his best race of the season. So he's out there. James Bridgens actually reached out to me last week and informed me of where the livery idea came from. It was from the old British Touring Car Championship days. I can't remember what car it was that was running it, but he sent me a picture. So that's where the inspiration came from. So thanks to James for sorting us out with that. Paul Russell, as I mentioned last week, is his best round of the season, finishing third after a fifth and a sixth the previous weeks before that, after opening up the season with a DNF. James Mack is back as well in the trusty McLaren for Red Rebel Racing. We'll be looking to have a good outing tonight. Mitch Hayes for Hayes Motorsport out there in the Lamborghini. Vinny Canero had some connection issues last week, so fingers crossed he doesn't get any of those issues this week as he crosses the line, I think, for a timed lap. Might have been invalidated there. Mark Stevens, one of the AEM Championship protagonists out there at the moment. Lee Perkins, he's the actual AEM Championship leader. Mark Hurley, a former AEM driver and now a silver driver, just in the pits. Chris Hildebrandt making another appearance this season in the Lexus as well. I don't see too many Lexus these days. Max Ricca was very, very seeing a bit of air there. Very enthusiastic about racing here this evening. Wally Masterson is out there as well. Neil Fakeney and Herbertron rounding out the field of 17. So decent little group that we've got at the moment. Let's head over to Paul Russell. So do you have any preferences around here, Adrian, or have you done many laps around Nords with the new DLC?
Not a heap. I've done a couple of the practice things and a few laps on my own. I'm still struggling a bit with ACC physics, so I'm still trying to get my head around a few things. So getting that confidence has been hard.
Yeah.
But you were just saying about the Lexus. The Lexus actually had to get a major nerf after it came out, because it was the car that broke the 8-minute lap record.
Right.
They did a 7:59 or something like that, and so they basically nerfed it to the tune of 50 kilos.
Wow.
To bring it back into the, because it's a perfect track for its characteristics. There's no low speed stuff. It's all fairly high speed, and that just suits Lexus down to the ground.
Right, I wasn't aware of that. Okay, well, maybe Chris Hildebrandt is onto something there. He's made a measured choice. We're watching Paul Russell just coming towards the end of his lap. His best time, 8:23. Let's see, he's up right now by about 3 seconds on his lap. So coming towards the end very, very shortly. We'll see if he can improve with 9.5 minutes left. So you'll have enough time for another lap. Moves up into P5. So nice work from him. Got Lee Perkins out there on a lap as well. Questions without... that's a big slide there from Lee Perkins. You've been racing a little bit of LMU, is that right? You sent me a message that contains some stuff around LMU, is that right?
Yeah, a little bit in LMU, a little bit in RF2. Trying to keep my hand in as best I can with what works for me.
Yeah. And what do you think of LMU? I actually bought it last night, so I had a little go on that last night. What are your thoughts?
It's got a lot of potential. I think it probably doesn't have the same popularity of cars in it, but I think it's probably going to be able to match ACC if they get all the bugs sorted out of it. And I've already had quite a few people, who are long-time ACC people, say to me, now we've driven it for a while, it's really good. And you go, well, that's because RF2's always been really good. It's just been hamstrung by its interface and its little problems. But LMU's solving a lot of that, and I think it'll be as long as they keep it together and keep working it forward, I think it'll be a really good package to have.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing how it sort of all evolves and shapes out. Maybe give us a bit of background about yourself, because you're always in the chat. You're always dropping very, very knowledgeable takes, and even tonight you've already come out with a couple already. What's your sort of sim racing history, or sort of give us your quick elevator pitch on Adrian Rice and his what you want to share with us, of course. You don't have to go too deep, but your sim racing journey.
Oh, I started way back in the old Pyrus Indy 500 days back on the PC. Like we're talking like the 1990s. So I went through that. There was the NASCAR one that came out as well, and then some of the early Formula Ones, and then there was the first of the mods that they did on under F1. Was it F1 2002?
Okay, yep.
There was a virtual Le Mans mod and a couple of GT1 mods and a couple other. There was a British touring car mod.
Yeah.
That all worked under that program. And then as soon as Gran Turismo came out, I started on Gran Turismo on PlayStation. So I've gone through all the Gran Turismo. So I haven't gone to 7. So it got to a point. There's a few things where I had to be home a lot, and so I started getting more serious about the sim racing. First with Grand GT Sport, and then when ACC came out, I basically pre-ordered it as soon as it became available. So I've been on it pretty much since it came out on PlayStation.
Yeah, nice.
And a little while ago, I sort of wanted to get into the cars I've always into because I love sports car racing, Le Mans, Group C, all that sort of stuff. And so I managed to find a league that does historic sports car racing. So I've been doing that as a thing as well.
Yeah, is that in what platform is that on?
That's in RF2. The
RF2,
league actually,
yeah.
It actually creates its own mods.
Yeah. Okay.
So they make a new historic mod every year. So a different year of the world sports cars every year.
Yeah, so cool. I love it. I've seen John Slow drives in a sort of historic racing series as well, but that's on AMS2, not on Factor 2. So I thought it might have been the same thing, but it's not. So that's Lee Perkins just finding the fence there right towards the end of his lap as well. He was up on his best time, which is an 8:33.8. So good enough for 13th right now, but he'll have to call that one back in. Looks like there's a few drivers. Most of the drivers still out there. There's a handful in the pits. Less than 5 minutes remaining. Still this man out on track, Andrew Lawrenson, who is leader of the pack at 8 minute 12 seconds, .240. That's the best time. In a new livery as well. I'm used to did you see that? Did you see Michael Lisa just come through there?
Yeah, they've got the Joker lap, so you don't have to do a whole lap to start a new lap. So obviously Andrew invalidated his lap or was starting a new lap, and so he come through on the Joker thing as he used to come through on his flying lap. There was actually a pretty strict rule on the cones the other day, but that seems to have not been put here.
Yeah, because you can go right and then you go on the actual Nürburgring track like what Andrew's doing here, then to actually start your lap as well. I believe I saw that the other day. So that was, that looked a little bit hairy there for a second. But this is Andrew Lawrenson. Just hello to everyone in the chat as well. So Heather Russell's there. Nice to see you again. Heather. Stu Barkley. How are you, Stu? Good to see you as well. We've got 10 people. Ooh, that's nice. Hope everyone's had a good start to the week. Who else is out there? Neil Fakeney. Good enough for P14 right now. He's on his lap. I find that this circuit is sort of like that first sector is quite sort of twisty and turny at the beginning of it, and then it evens itself out. And you got quite a fast section not long after that for a big portion of the lap, and then it starts to get a little bit sort of twisty and turny again. These are my expert analysis going on here, but it's going to be really interesting to see how everyone handles 60 minutes around here. I feel like it's more survival than anything around a track like this.
Yeah, it's surprising how many invalidate their lap right at the end. It can get quite frustrating because you do the whole eight and a half minutes, and suddenly you get right near the end, only a corner or two away, and you just go run a little wide or touch a wall because like typical ACC. All the walls are lava. As soon as you touch them, you invalidate a lap. So that can be quite frustrating at times.
And I think they had the practice race, the Wacky Wednesday, around here last week, and I think there's some sort of incidents that kind of cropped up too. So just sort of normal Nürburgring stuff. And I know there was the big 8-hour enduro around here on the weekend, which some of these guys would have participated in. Were you in that as well?
No, I didn't. Couldn't find anyone who wanted to team up with me, and that's not surprising to be honest. But no, I didn't get into that one.
All right, 8 hours. That's a big commitment. All right, so we're coming to the closing stages of qualifying right now. Neil Fakeney is the only one out there on a time lap. As we jump on board with him, he's just down marginally on his best lap. Coming towards the end, twice, just probably just over halfway through this lap in the beginning. Let's have a look at. Just working away there. So he is up marginally on his best time now. So almost coming to the end of qualifying. Got a few drivers out there on their final runs. One of them is Paul Russell, so good enough for P5 right now. A few other drivers out there coming towards the end of their lap as well. That's Max Ricca. So he's on an invalid lap right now. He's got red against his name. He was a second up, which would have been good enough for the front row of the grid as we go to 000 on the clock. This was always the best part in Gran Turismo when I first raced around this track, where you knew once you get to here, you sort of you're home free.
It's also surprising just how long it takes to come on to this button. Sort of like 7 minutes 30, and you go on a good lap, and you get to the end of it, and you're still into the mid-8s, and you think, well, where'd all the time go? It was just a straight.
Yeah, it's so true. I've actually been to this circuit in real life. I actually what are they? It's the V&L series that they regularly do around here.
VLN, I think.
VLN, yeah. Went around for a lap in a little Porsche Cayenne. I think back in 2016, which was a lot of fun. And Max Ricca goes to P2. So nice work from him at the end of the session. James Bridgens coming towards the end of his lap, as is Paul Russell. I think Bridgens will be just ahead of him. So Lawrenson's in the pits. He is on pole position right now. Max Ricca is second. Michael Easter third. Maybe that's why we've got a few more people watching the Michael Easter fan club. This is Bridgens. Russell, I think, is behind him. And Neil Fakeney, who we were riding on with earlier, 6/10 up on his best time. Coming right towards the end of the lap. Back under the circuit. Okay. Shake out. He improves, but not enough to move up the timing board. Good enough for P14. Here's Paul Russell. He improves his time, but he can only remain P5. Mitch Hayes is out there, but I think the session has officially ended. I saw the waiting time was almost 9 minutes, but so Hayes is going to teleport back. Vinny Canero is going to do the same. So Andrew Lawrenson, congratulations He's back, pole position with an 8-minute 12.240. How's that for a time, Adrian? I think that's pretty bloody quick. Would you agree?
It's pretty quick, like for what we're doing. But I mean, I think the official qualifying time is at the last year was an 8:04, I think, something like that.
Okay, still a decent time. So nice work from Andrew Lawrenson. James Bridgens was the highest of the AM drivers and P6. So definitely putting the horsepower of the BMW to good use. He was the highest of the silver drivers in P6 outright, and Chris Hildebrandt was the highest of the silver drivers. So very colourful livery on the Lexus, good enough for P11. So that's qualifying all done. We'll be back in a couple of minutes to get this one underway, round number 5 of the season. We'll be back in 2 minutes. All right, we are back, everyone. So this is the grid. So we were just discussing what are they going to do here? If they're going to do a full formation lap. I think I saw something in the chat earlier. I can't imagine that they would do the entire circuit as the formation. Where are we? Let's see if I can see anything in the chat here. Or we're just going to find out. Short formation lap. Let's see. We're going to just start like this. Oh, well, we're going to find out anyway. Here we go. So, not quite racing yet. Getting in formation though. So this is indicating that it won't be the entire lap. Formation lap. I don't mind this new livery from Andrew Lawrenson. Uno Racing. There's plenty of
it's the in-game ones, I think.
Yeah, it looks like it.
He used it in one of the pre-season races, and everyone said it looked really good. So the only thing he was worried about was making sure he had his number on it. So.
Yeah, I don't mind it. No Terry Rayton tonight, though, our championship leader. So he's missing. We don't have the Laundry House livery out there. It was GT Racing. There's all going on this weekend. There was Sepang yesterday. There was Long Beach. And they even had the 6-hour WEC race at Imola yesterday. So there's plenty of motorsport. And the F1s were on yesterday. So plenty of motorsport action this time of the year. These guys are just on their formation lap. Get this one underway. So Andrew Lawrenson hasn't raced for a couple of weeks. He was second in round number 1. He won round number 2. So see if he can get his second win of the season. But Michael Easter is definitely going to be a good challenge for him, as will Max Ricca and the rest of the field. Good to see Nando Latenzio up there, Paul Russell, James Bridgens. I reckon that's probably one of his best ever qualifying sessions for him. So he's got that BMW in a good spot right now. Matt Frost, ever reliable, up there in the 666. James Mack, Vinny Canero, looks like he doesn't have any connection issues this week, thankfully for him. So good to see him out there as well. Do you have any predictions, Adrian?
There'll be crashes. That's about as far as much as I can predict of this.
Yeah,
I mean, Andrew should do pretty well. He won the 8-hour Sunday.
Oh wow! Congratulations
So,
to him. So he'd be pretty familiar with the track. And we shouldn't be too far away from starting. Just coming up to the NGK chicane. Well, it was long awaited, this DLC, and it's certainly delivering. It'll be the first time Roos go around there in the league's history. So on ACC, I think it's been done plenty of times in Gran Turismo as well.
It looks like it's the whole lap. That's weird. That's going to take a very long time at this pace.
It is the... Oh, no way.
It looks like they're changing it.
Nice. The clock hasn't started yet. Still in formation. Ghosting is still on. Are they just going to start at a predetermined point, maybe? I'm not too sure. I reckon that that's Neil Fakeney, so I'm not too sure what's happened to him. Maybe he is changing the I don't know what he's doing. Changing the lobby status, because if we're going to be doing a whole lap at this pace, yeah, it is going to take a very long time. I can't see anything in the chat to suggest otherwise at this stage.
Yeah, I was pretty sure they were planning to do a short formation lap.
Oh, here we go. Lost connection to the
It looks like
server.
3 set.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Let's just. All right. I'll have to wait. Get back in there. I think that's probably what Neil was doing. Alright, just sit tight, everyone. Oh, I thought that was... Oh, there it is. Here we go. Nürburgring. That's Wacky Wednesday. It's not up yet. Alright, cool. Just sit tight, everyone. We will be back very, very shortly. I think they just got to reset the server. Just having a look here. Can't see anything in the chat. Alright. No, still nothing. Alright, we'll just have to wait, unfortunately. Oops. Just wait till it comes back up. So, what have you been racing most of lately? LMU or ACC?
RF2 is my
RF2, one. Yeah, right. My brother absolutely loves RF2. Like, just doesn't stop talking about it. Absolutely loves it.
Well, it's kind of one of those things that's, it has a bad rap for obvious reasons, and there's some obvious bad business stuff going on above it that doesn't help. But as a lot of people say, once you're actually on the track, it's probably the best sim of all of them. It's got the best physics, it's got the best tire model. The graphics are probably on par, but some of the shaders and stuff are not as good. That's what gives, I think, ACC the advantage when you look at it, because and that's what one of the things that they did for LMU was write a whole heap of new shaders and animation and graphic stuff to smooth out what wasn't as good in RF2 for that. You see that especially when you can watch replays in LMU. The replays are so much smoother, and so.
Yeah, I haven't got that far for the replay part yet, but I have heard that with RF2, because I'm not as au fait with playing games as I am streaming them, but or playing formats or platforms or whatever. But yeah, I have all the kind of gist that I get from RF2. Yeah, it does have kind of a bit of a bad rap, and I'd have to definitely agree with you there. The aesthetics, of ACC is certainly a little bit better than RF2, but I've always been told that R Factor 2, it's the physics are pretty much unmatched. We're still waiting for a lobby to be produced. Alright, so we'll just take a quick little time out. We'll be back very, very shortly. As soon as there's a lobby up, we'll get it back up and running, and hopefully we'll have the race for you all very shortly. But we'll be back as soon as it's up. I'll let you know. All right, everyone, we're back. As you can see, server is up.
Green light, go, go, go.
Oops. Alright. Let's... Alright, so 4-minute countdown. Then they're going to have to... everyone's got to get in anyway. Michael Easter is now East.
May have depended on what Crunch did to save the qualifying list or the entry list or whatever to put in.
Yeah, could go back through the stream to get it. I'm sure he probably would have got that before he sent it. Before he set it up. That's James McCauley now, not James Mack. Brant, Perkins. We got 16. We had 17. So these guys just doing a little bit of practice. That Ferrari has looked very uncomfortable every time it's been on the screen from Lee Perkins. A little bit of practice in. Michael Easter is as well.
I think a couple of cars do struggle with the bumps. I know Max was talking that the McLaren is not particularly happy on the bumps around most of the track.
Yeah, he was saying Michael Easter doing a bit of drifting. Yeah, I think he was saying that we can't get it to go low enough. I think it was, and the aero wasn't as effective on the McLaren. I think there was something along those lines.
Yeah, well, Nürburgring's got a minimum ride height rule, and they've put that in the game.
Right.
Because the McLaren's so front aero sensitive, it's taken a lot of front grip out of the car.
Why the minimum ride height limit?
I think it's a rule in real life. I think it's part of, because it's it is a track that parts of it nearly 100 years old now. It's to allow the cars to cope with the bumps and also with some of the jumps. I mean, the jumps along the section of the pool is going along now used to be famous for the cars coming off the ground, because that's where that Nissan took off as well a few years ago and ended up over the catch fence. So I think it's to try and control those aspects of a track that's so long and so many different surfaces and so many different grip levels and all that sort of stuff. It limits. It takes away that possibility of cars bottoming out and having problems like that as well.
Makes sense. Alright, so the wait time mini practice session is coming to an end in 30 odd seconds, and then gonna get the grid all set. Perkins. For this one, there's the Ferris wheel in the background, so there's actually a roller coaster at this circuit as well. Apparently, I'm reading in my little notes here, so not many tracks have a roller coaster next to them, but this one does. In early 2000s, operators in the Nürburgring wanted to get the most out of the track. Planned a $215 million motorsport theme park with hotels, apartments, shopping mall, nightclub, roller coaster. Yeah, so-called ring racer. Yeah, right. The so-called ring racer reached a speed of 217 kilometers in just 2.5 seconds, making it faster than a Formula One car. At the start, the visitors were exposed to a G-force of 3.4 G. However, the project developed from a rocket launch to a false launch. There you go. For one thing, the finances sank so deep into the red that one of those responsible even had to go to prison. So a lot of shady stuff happens with motorsport, doesn't it? There's always... It's one of those sports where there's a lot of money involved. I guess it's kind of like horse racing a little bit. Where there's money, there's usually shady stuff that follows. Not all the time, but...
Yeah. I'm lucky enough that one of the guys I sim race with in RF2 actually works for Honda Racing in the USA.
Yeah, right.
And he constantly points out which team this week's, sort of half jokingly, but I think it's also a bit of insider knowledge, which team this week's is part of the whatever group of money launderers are in town on the day.
Yeah, okay.
Apparently, a lot of GT3 teams are perfect candidates for money laundering schemes and scams.
Oh yeah, totally. Especially because I was watching the GT3s on the weekend, and there's a lot of them that ran with like no sponsorship, and it's like, where does that money come from? Like, it has to come from somewhere. So, and the amount of show, there was a good show I watched a while ago that there's a guy doing all sorts of dodgy stuff, and he had his own car racing team as well that he was funding. So part of the repossession was all these motorsport stuff that he lost. So yeah, right. Well, there you go. Cool. So that's our grid right there. That's right at the end of the track. So yeah, it looks like they've got that sorted, and we'll just get a short little formation and then it'll be underway. What else about this circuit? Had the brief appearance in 2020 in the Formula One, but it made a reappearance on the Formula One calendar after being off there for a while. Used to be the European Grand Prix, but they called this the Eiffel Grand Prix in the COVID-affected year. And I don't think they got much. Did they get much racing done, or there was weather issues there? The helicopter couldn't get off the ground, so I think that affected qualifying or practice. I can't remember what it was. Yeah, 1927, track was made, up to 28.3 kilometers in length. The longest part of it is taken up by the legendary Nürburgring Nordschleife, which was originally 22.8 kilometers long. Alright, here we go. The version we're doing is about 25.3 kilometers. Alright, so here is our grid. Andrew Lawrenson on pole position, an 8 minute 12.240 was his time. That's Ricca in P2. He's keen Max. Do you know much about Max Ricca? He's had he's just gotten better and better, hasn't he? I've found he wasn't a mid-pack racer, but he goes well. He seems like a very enthusiastic kind of person as well, from what I can tell in the chat.
Yeah, he seems to have his head screwed on pretty well. I actually found I noticed that I knew his name from somewhere and I couldn't work it out. But then I found out he races off-road RC cars, so I've seen his name on results lists and stuff over the years.
I saw that chat. That was very interesting chat, actually. Yeah, with you and Max about RC racing. Oh, that was pretty cool, actually. Here we go, green light. So we're racing. Looks like Lawrenson got a pretty good jump. So did Michael Easter. He's going to split the two with him and Max Ricca. Going to go into turn one. almost 3 wide there. 3 wide with Bridgens, Frost and Latenzio. They file into the very, very tight right-hander. And it looks like everyone has made their way through. Good work from all involved. It's Michael Easter and Max Ricca going at it for the lead. So Lawrenson's already dropped back into P3 off the start line. As just having a look a little bit further down the field. What's happening with Michael Hurley here? He's fallen all the way to the rear of the field. But it's Ricca leading from Easter. Lawrenson's up there. Latenzio, Paul Russell all following through. And it looks like mainly everyone has gotten away safe and sound. They're all facing the right way. And we've got our first race in ACC around the Nordschleife underway. And it's this man on screen, Max Ricca, leading the way. But clean start from everyone, Adrian, is what you want around here on the first lap.
Yeah, well, that turn 1 is a real handful. It's even worse than the GP version of it because it's so much slower. But yeah, it's good to see them all get through there clean.
So now they will head on to the main track off the GP circuit onto the Nordschleife. So probably get around about, how many laps would you expect tonight? 60-minute race. Probably going to do sort of 8 to 9 minutes a lap. Probably 6, maybe 7 laps around here, you think?
Yeah, I'd probably say 7.
Yeah.
Because it depends on when they cross the line for the last lap.
Oh, Ricca just runs wide there. Oh, he makes contact. And he's very gentle, light contact with the wall there. That shouldn't be too bad. They're going to go 3 wide. That's Bridgens and Latenzio making contact. Oh, and Easter gets caught up in that as well. Where are you, Michael Easter? Let's go to the replay and have a quick look what happened. So this is where we caught him. Latenzio made a bit of contact with... So Russell made a bit of contact. Then Bridgens got into Latenzio. Latenzio went around. Bridgens got Easter. Easter makes contact with Russell. And Easter ended up facing the wrong way. And we go back to live pictures, and that's where he is now in P17 at the rear of the field. So we're going to have a few wounded cars out there. One of them will be this man here, Nando Latenzio. Don't think James Mack got caught up in that too much. But the other person that was in it was, where are you, James Bridgens. He was he and Nando Latenzio. So maybe the trusted driver panel might have a look at that. He's overshot the mark there as well. This is making his way back on. Let's see what happened here. And this is a tricky little part here that catches a lot of people out. And he's just taking evasive action off through there. Go back to the live images right now. There we go. So Bridgens drops down into P11, and you can see already there's some witness marks on the front of the car there, but it's an all too familiar name at the front. It's Andrew Lawrenson at the front of the field. He and Max Ricca. And Max, he did have a very gentle contact with the wall, so I don't know if he picked up any damage, but I don't think Andrew Lawrenson would have gotten any either.
Nando's just gone around again, unfortunately.
Let's see what happened here on the replay. Oh, just on the curb and makes contact with the wall. And that is not the way that you want to be facing, so you have to flick that around. Go back to live images. What about Paul Russell? He's just put a move on Chris Hildebrand. We just catch up with him there, and he makes contact in the wall. Let's see what happened there. So this is right at the end of it. then we just get blocked by the trees there a little bit. And then he just got the rear up on the curbing there. The curbing's a little bit higher in some places as well, and he's made contact. Lee Perkins has managed to get past Vinny Canero as well, so he's moved up into P6. So it's been action aplenty, and we had crashes on the first lap, as Adrian Rice perfectly predicted. And that's where we're at right now, as Macaulay manages to get past Herbert. Robin Herbert, was he? Oh, that's Herbtron. So his name is changed on there. Going through the famous carousel section now.
Hard little section, that one. If you get the exit of that wrong, it can spit you into the wall pretty easy.
And it's kind of like two different surfaces through there as well, by the looks of things.
Yeah, well, I think you've still got some of the original, as I jokingly say, I think you've still got some of the original Nazi concrete in there still, and then they've had more modern asphalt around the top of it.
The attention to detail, though, on the track and has been something that a lot of people have commented on. Like all the, as you can see, all the riding and the stuff on the actual, on the track, and then all the attention to detail around the circuit as well has been something that's been given quite high praise since it came out. So
I think that's the main difference for me for the different versions on the different games is how much detail they've obviously been there and made sure to capture all the camping and all that sort of stuff that goes on during the actual race, whereas a lot of the other game sims, it's a bit stale, it's just the track.
Yeah,
I think it'll be very, very good to see at night. Apparently all the fires are going and the lights and all that sort of stuff, so I think that'd be really good to see.
That would be cool to see, actually. Alright, well, what time? We're in game time, 11:12 a.m, so we're definitely not going to see that tonight. So Paul Russell managing to keep up a little bit of pace right now. Just out in front, though, we'll just dip away to the front runners. So it's Andrew Lawrenson leading the way. 2.3 seconds is the gap between he and Max Ricca. Matt Frost is up in P3, so that's a great result for him. He started in 7th, so he's up 4 spots already in the early stages of this. Looks like Bridgens, Russell and James Mack almost going 3 wide. Up the back straight, fastest part of the circuit. Absolutely flying right now. We'll see how many come into the pits though after we saw a fair bit of action in the opening few corners of this one. And looks like Russell is one of them to jump into the pits. There he is. Let's get back to that action though on the circuit. That was James Bridgens. Just lost a spot there to James Macaulay. Drops down into P11. So far, there's only Paul Russell that came into the pits. I reckon we might see this man make his way into the pits, Nando Latenzio. Go on board, can't really see any obvious signs of distress with the car. Follow him in, you can see some markings on the windscreen, there's plenty of markings all over the back of the car as well. The other one was Mark Hurley, so Paul Russell, Mark Hurley and Nando Latenzio all making their way into the pits, and Michael Easter, it doesn't look comfortable at all. Oh, look at that. How does that look to you, Adrian? Pleasant?
No, that looks like that's got quite a lot of damage on it, especially with all those marks on the windscreen. Usually a good sign. I'm surprised Bridges didn't come into the pits. I mean, that BMW would have had to got a fair bit of damage. I mean, it bounced off a couple of walls and a couple of cars. So I'm surprised, but if you can keep pacing, I suppose, keep out there.
Yeah, well, he's just made a move on Mark Stevens, so yeah, despite what we can see on the outside of the car right now, it seems to be going all right for him. So he's stayed out. He'll continue on. BMW pretty robust, and Michael Easter making his way into the pits as well. So credit to him for not just disconnecting and packing it in, which kind of wouldn't blame him if he did.
The only good part about having this early is that it gets your compulsory stop out of the way, and you'll probably get through the rest of the race as is. So you've got a chance to make it back up again, and you're not that far behind given the size of the circuit.
Well, that was my thinking originally when I saw the incident. I was like, well, if you want anything like that to happen, it's right at the start of the race rather than at the end of the race. So you make an excellent point there. We'll see what he can do if he can work his way up through the field again. As Mark Stevens, it's Perkins. That's a decent old whack as well into the wall. Let's see what happened here. He had Kinero behind him. It's just the bump unsettled the car. Yeah, whack. So, it wasn't too bad in the end though. Didn't look like he hit it overly hard, so we'll have to wait and see.
A lot of the times if you hit walls like that, stuff square on, it sort of damages everything equally, so that it doesn't really change what the car does, just like make it a little bit slower.
So Michael Easter still in the pits, getting his repairs done. James McCauley is the closest car. These are the closest two cars on circuit. So it's Andrew Lawrenson leading the way. He has a 3.6 second gap over Max Ricca. What's happened to Neil Fakely? Lost a couple of spots there. Let's just see what happened here on the replay. Was it a little mistake? Oh yeah, it was. He just gives the wall a bit of a glance and a scrape on the way through, but around here, that's not too bad of a result.
Yeah, that little section is really hard with hit, miss. It's known, or what? Some variation on that. Very hard to get the third one right. For me, anyway, the third one always pushes wide, and so hard to keep it in tight.
How many laps around here do you reckon you've done?
In ACC, not that many, but I did do quite a few 24-hour races in Gran Turismo.
Yeah, right.
So I've probably done a few hundred all up.
Wow. So you should know this place pretty well then. I must sound like a real just amateur hour, not knowing any of the corner names, not knowing any of the real sections.
Yeah, I don't do that either. It's just I know where I'm going when I'm there, and I can probably talk around, as in like it's a left and a right, then a long straight, then a left and stuff like that. But the actual corner names, yeah, no. I mean, I know the Plug Platts, I know YouTube Corner, I know the Carousel, Mini Carousel, and stuff like that. But actual all the German names and stuff, no, I've never known that. Even Le Mans, which is probably my favourite track, I still get bits and pieces mixed up, like which bits are Nage and which bits, actual Mulsanne. And
yeah.
Which bit's which.
Now that's a bucket list circuit. Le Mans would love to go to the south as Bridgens Just getting it all. That wasn't Bridgens, it was Macaulay, sorry. Let's go to the replay and see exactly what happened. We'll go on board with him. Plenty of action, keeping us entertained. Oh, just once again, just the curbs. Upsetting the car, so they're a lot higher than a normal curb. I've seen plenty of drivers just struggling. Bringing them undone. This is Herbertron.
Yeah, that's a bit of the nature of what did worry some people when it was first put out.
Terry Rayton in the chat. Where are you, Terry? Why aren't you racing tonight? Just giving you a bit of a shout out there, Adrian. Thanking us for the coverage. So this is Stevens and Fakeney. Neil Fakeney just running a little bit wide there. I think that might just be a bit of a hangover from the handling of that car after we saw him rubbing up against the fence for a bit there. We'll go on board with him, and then looks like quite a handful. Just understeered off. Okay. Yeah, so we might see Neil Fakeney making an appearance in the pits very, very shortly. He's coming up to the fastest part of the track. Not having to steer too much, and he's coming up towards the end of the lap, but it's still this man here, 17 minutes in. Off at a wedding this week. That's fair enough. So Lawrenson still leading this one. He's opened up a 5.5 second gap from Max Ricca. Now his time that he did his last lap around was an 8 minute 12.8. So that's only 6/10 off his qualifying time, to give you a bit of an idea on where that pace sits right now. From this man here, Max Ricca, he did an 8 minute 15 for his first time lap, and then Matt Frost an 8:24.280. So fairly large discrepancy between the top two and then third place, and then it was sort of times varying from 8:24 to 8:44, 8:55. Poor Russell has made his way past. I wonder what's happened here. Lee Perkins. There's Lee. Yep. So, and there goes Russell. Oh, Lee Perkins has had a massive hit. Have a look at that. That is not a healthy Ferrari at all. That is going to be back to the pits for him. The only real saving grace is it's towards the end of the lap. He doesn't need to go too far to get back to the pits, but that's a big hit. Yeah, that's how long in the pits do you reckon that? 2 minutes maybe?
Yeah, that much left hand down, I'd say. Yeah, there's a couple of minutes there.
So we'll have a bit of a wait to get all that sorted. Who else is out there? So Mitch Hayes. He's got Chris Hildebrand tucked in behind him in the Lexus. Let's have a look at... they don't have a speed trap on here. That's unfortunate. So Hildebrand is giving chase to Hayes, and there's Vinny Canero as well. So yeah, in the opening stages of the lap. Yeah, so this is the first part here. Look at the detail on the side of the circuit. It looks so good. Done an awesome job.
Yeah, they've definitely made sure to capture it as it is. It's probably one difference between a lot of the other sims and this particular version is that it is the most up to date, so you get a lot of that extra signage. And I'd say it must have been done just after the race last year, so they got all that signage and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, no, they've done a fantastic reproduction. Just looks great. Lee Perkins in the pits, so I dare say he'll be in there for a fair while. We saw Hildebrandt getting up on those curbs. So he's hunting down Hayes. Right now, where did Mitch Hayes start? P9 he started, so making some good progress. Terry Rayton interstate for a wedding this week. Right, there you go.
I dare say that the Honda would be a little bit of a handful over the bumps on this. Short wheelbase and lots of peaky power.
Which car do you reckon is most suited? You talked up the Lexus before. Would you say that's probably one of the more suited cars around here?
From what I've heard, the Lexus, the BMW does particularly well. I think anything that can handle bumps. Okay, so you're looking at those, probably the Merc probably would do all right as well.
Well, that's one of your favourites, the Merc.
No. It was a car I drove. I'm not going to call it a favourite.
Well, Hildebrandt is doing a good job out there right now. He's hunting down Hayes. He's got Vinny Kinero tucked in behind him as well. So this is a battle for 4th, 5th and 6th. These guys are all going at it. And the other couple of close cars right now is Fakeney and Mark Stevens battling it out for 8th and 9th right now. Neil Fakeney sitting 2nd in the Silver Class Championship. Only 4 points separated he and Mark Hurley, who you can see is down here in 15th position. So Neil Fakeney, some championship implications for the Silver Class tonight. And unfortunately for Lee Perkins, he is our championship leader right now, but he is in the pits and is sitting in 17th and last position. His main rival in the championship is actually Mark Stevens, who is putting in a great effort right now. He's sitting in 8th, and that's Bridgens has hit the wall. Let's see what happened here. Maybe go on board with him. That might give us a bit more of a better idea. Oh, he just got wide there and clipped the wall and scraped along. And this is pretty much where we picked him up. And go back to live images, and he's back underway. So he's up and running again, but geez, that doesn't look good for him. Where's he sitting in the championship? He's 4th in the AM championship right now, and that's going to be a fair amount of time required in the pits as he makes his way through the carousel. And oh no, what's happened? Mitch Hayes, another one's been caught out. Let's see what happened here. He's weaving his way through. It's the bumps again, Adrian. The bumps are catching people out.
That's the famous YouTube corner. That's where everyone goes, throws out, spins their car out, and gets put on YouTube.
I know that. Yeah, I know that corner. There's like compilations of people spinning their car out through there.
Yeah, there's hundreds of them. So it seems to be the one everyone ends up spinning there at least once.
Mm-hmm. So he's got Mark Stevens right on the back of him now. So depending on how much damage Hayes is carrying, looks like it is impeding his performance a little bit. Nando Latenzio, he's had a spin as well. Let's see what happened to him. Oh, he just sort of glanced the wall and spun around and gave it a whack in reverse as well. He'll get going. We'll get back to live images because it looks like Stevens got past. Oh, then he went around again. So That's unfortunate for Nando Latenzio after last week's effort, a P4. I don't think that will be repeated this week around. But here's Kinero and Hildebrandt making their way up the long straight towards the end of the lap. Max Ricca is in the pits right now as well. So he's the first. Oh, is that because he's had... Oh, maybe that was from earlier on. What was his last lap? 8:37. Oh, but that was because he was in the pits. It's Kinero. Hildebrandt is in the pits as well. So this is all scheduled for him. I think it's scheduled for Max. I'm not too sure if you know anything different, Adrian, but...
Well, I'm just having a look at his car in the pits, and there seems to be a little bit more damage on it than I would have thought he would have got out of that earlier stuff. Because I don't have the livery, so I just see all black, and I can see a lot of scuff marks on the car.
Right, gotcha. Yep. Yeah, that would make it a little bit difficult to see. So this man continues to lead. He's just about to embark on another lap. We're not too far away from the halfway mark of this one. How many laps have we done? Three laps. Alright, so we've got Hildebrandt in the pits, Max Ricca, Hayes, McCauley and Bridgens. Now there was a timed pit stop in there last week. I'm not too sure if they've got the same again this week. Hildebrandt, I'm just having a look at pit stop times right now. Who's been in there the longest? Ricca at over a minute and a half now. Not too sure on what a par pit stop time is. And he's going again, Ricca, so a minute 42. So I think my total time stopped a minute 7. Hildebrandt still in there. No, he's just coming out now. So I think, yeah, Max was just tidying up that his repairs, because he was in there for 18 seconds longer than Hildebrandt, who I don't think was carrying any damage when he came in. McCauley still in there, as is Bridgens, so he's at a minute 10. McCauley's at a minute 25 right now. So we'll keep an eye on that while this man continues to lead. The Audi as well. It's what's the situation with the Audi car at the moment? Because at one stage it was sort of the OP car, and then it wasn't. And what's the state of it now, Adrian?
I think it's whoever's driving it, to be honest. I mean, Andrew's faster than anything, really.
Yeah, true.
But I think it's still a good car. I just think you've got to be able to drive it the way it needs to be driven, like all of them, I guess.
Yeah, true. Fun car to drive. It's an Audi 1.2 right now. So this man here, Matt Frost, currently in P2. He hasn't made his stop yet, so it's all still to shake out. Vinny Kinero putting in a good effort. Good to see him up there. Currently P4 right now. So cars that have stopped is basically from P8 down. So all of those cars from Ricca to Perkins, they've stopped. Nando Latenzio is in fact stopping again. So this will be his second or third stop, I do believe. So that gives you a bit of an idea. And then so everyone from obviously Herbert up to Lawrence are yet to stop. So probably the car that we really want to keep an eye on is Ricca. He'd be the one who's going to, if anything, be in contention. But the gap was over 5 seconds, I do believe, when he was giving chase to this man on screen. I'm just trying to hunt down some other cars at the moment. It's slim pickings with 17 cars out on a 23-kilometre circuit. Hard to get some action right now, as we're almost at the halfway mark. I'm watching Neil Fakey, so one of the drivers that hasn't stopped yet. Latenzio still in the pits, getting his repairs all sorted out. There's Herbertron. Oh, let's just track the progress of this man here, Michael Easter, or Michael East, whatever he got the weird names because of the lobby reset. And he's worked his way up to P15, so credit to him for soldiering on. Wouldn't have held it against him if he decided to call it quits after that first lap incident, but he's soldiering on. Let's see how high he can get. The last lap around from him was an 8-minute 18.5. So not a bad time. Some good pace from him. He was on the front row of the grid in qualifying.
I think Porsche is a decent car around here too. It's one I've been playing around with most recently, which is unusual for me. I'm not usually a Porsche fan, but it seems to be working at the moment.
It's a bit of an acquired taste, isn't it, the Porsche?
Yeah, in some ways it's probably the most predictable of the cars. Like, you always know pretty much what it's going to do. With some of the other ones, it can be a little bit like, a bit of a sort of guessing game, how much grip you're going to have from corner to corner and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, you always know it wants to turn you around like a giant pendulum, basically, which I guess is predictability.
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. I mean, it's probably, for me personally, it's like I just want the car to do one thing. As long as it does that one thing all the time, you can drive around it, you can set up around it. When a car sort of changes from corner to corner and from track to track, it gets a bit harder sometimes to work out what to do with setups and that sort of stuff. So it's good to have some predictability, even if it is a little bit on the scary side.
Yeah, I agree. If you know what it's going to do, at least you don't get scared by it. So, what's happened here? Why are these notifications coming up? Let's see what happened here with Herbertron. So he's just had a very gentle spin, and then Max Ricca was coming through. There he is. And Max Ricca just slides on through to P7. So he's made his stop. I don't think Herbertron has. Double check that. Yeah, no pit stop for him. So still got a stop to make. Bridgens passes Macaulay. What's happened here? Oh, just caught him right at the end. So he's already gone around. And gave that a bit of a whack, didn't he? Exo.
Yeah, it looks like that exit of that corner before the uphill section. It's always a bit hard to get that one right because it's a closing corner, but you've got to sort of, it dictates you run all the way up the hill. It's hard work in these cars. Some of them don't even pull top gear that sometimes.
Oh, he's got a fair bit of damage as well. You can see on the front of that McLaren. Exo, we'd love to know how the GTR would go around here. I think he referred to the Nissan earlier on in the broadcast, Adrian, as Andrew Lawrenson making his stop.
Hard to know because a lot of the cars, like the Lexus, the Nissan, the Bentley, they all got a buff with the last updates. They fixed the physics up, they fixed the tyre models up. They changed some yaw settings and some downforce settings and stuff on them, and sort of brought them back into sort of contention, for want of a better word. Probably do it right. Probably. Nissan's problem always was this lack of adjustability. You only had 2 or 3 rear wing settings and stuff like that. So it was always a little bit of a diva to set up. You were always a little bit compromised. I think on a track like this, I couldn't see it doing badly, but unlike the newer cars, it's just not being obviously worked on anymore.
Alright, so Frost, Kinnearo, Stevens, Fakeney, all in the pits. Lawrenson has made his stop. So So he's up and running again. And Ricca is just coming around to complete another lap. So he'll leapfrog all of those guys in the pits. They're all still stationary. I think that was Frost dropping. No, or Kinero. It was Kinero. Where are you? Max Ricca. So he's ducked through into P2 now. And that car's all freshly repaired. Nice and neat and tidy for Max Ricca to go to the end. Kinero in third. There you go. So not too far behind him. 4.3 seconds the gap between he and Ricca. So with his pit stop completed, started in 10th, currently in third right now. So up 7 spots is Vinny Kinero having a great race. So good to see him with a very solid performance tonight. Mitch Hayes, he has made his pit stop as well. So everyone's pitted now. So it's a race to the end. He and Matt Frost, P4 and 5. Frost started in 7th. And yeah, Hayes started in 9th. So both of these guys have made good progress. A couple of other cars in the pits right now. Wally Masterson just coming out, and Herbertron in there as well. But we've got action on the track. We've got Lamborghini versus Audi. Hayes working away at the wheel. What is your preferred car, Adrian? What's your... If you just want to jump in and turn a few laps, what's your preferred car?
It's a tough one at the moment. Probably at the moment the Porsche is the car that I can most just jump into and stick the setup on that I've got on it and sort of drive it around. It may not be necessarily fast, but at least I can drive it. I started the season with Lamborghini, but yeah, it was obviously not in my wheelhouse as far as performance. I couldn't make it go anywhere near as good as the guys that ended up doing it.
So the Porsche is kind of where you're at the moment.
At the moment, yeah, it's taken me a long time to relearn or re-establish the feel of the physics since 1.9.
Yep. In what way? Explain that for us. In what way?
I found the cars very vague. Like, I don't have the greatest gear, and I'm not saying poor me. It's just what I've got.
Yep.
And I just found that 1.9 in particular just seemed to take so much away from, especially corner entry, what the cars were doing on corner entry. Just really had no idea. And also for me, and I can only speak for myself, I find ACC to be very, very rear focused in the setups. You've got to basically make the car do everything from the rear, and that doesn't gel with my driving style. I'm not a left foot braker. I'm only a 1 foot driver, so
really
I can't balance the car on the throttle and braker like a lot of the guys do. So I've got to have a different. I've got to be able to sort of brake deeper into the corner without the car losing its stability and all that sort of stuff. And ACC just doesn't seem to do that very easily. So it's taken me a long time to sort of work my way back, find new wheel settings and all that sort of stuff. And then go through the cars and try and find the cars that respond the best to what I like to feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's... So that's where I am at the moment with the cars. That's why I had quite a bit of fun in GT2s. KTM was quite. I was quite critical of it because of the way it performed, but it was actually a very nice car to drive. You could drive it really hard for long periods of time, and it just seemed to just love it. It didn't bite you or do anything silly. It just had no pace out of the corners. You were just constantly being left behind out of every single slow corner.
Yeah, right.
But when I jumped back into the GT3 cars, it was like, no, I haven't got this right yet. So I've sort of been going through the cars, and that's why I've ended up with the Porsche, because it seems to, despite the fact it's got a natural tendency to want to turn around, you can sort of work with it. You can use that to your advantage rather than a disadvantage.
And so, are you a person that you do your own setup, or do you source them elsewhere?
I do my own setups 95% of the time. Occasionally, if I just get completely lost and have no idea why I can't make a car work or can't get a lap time out of a car, I might have a look at what's around. A couple of the, there's quite a few out there in the market now. There's some that are better than others, but I tend to do my own setups most of the time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's cool. Well, you definitely sound like you know what the hell you're talking about. That's for sure. I think that can be half the battle sometimes, isn't it? When you do know what you want, and then you're you're not necessarily getting that. You got to go and then find what you do want, and that process of finding what you want can sometimes be a little bit.
Yeah,
can be the issue.
A long time since we mentioned RC racing. I actually spent a couple of years designing and building my own cars for racing. So
in real life. Yeah, cool.
So I got quite heavily into the whole suspension theory and chassis design and suspension design. Yeah, how you work out roll centers and all that sort of stuff. And so I kind of, when I make changes sometimes and it doesn't do what I expect it to do, I do get a bit frustrated with it. And I've been told not to badmouth ACC too much, so I'm trying not to. But ACC does seem to be the worst at that particular situation where I make a change expecting it to do something and it just doesn't do it, and I go, well, why? And then that's when I start getting lost with it. Looks like Bridgens is having a go here.
Yeah, he's all over the back of Masterson, who was in the pits on the previous lap, and Michael Easter is all over the back of Herbertron as well, or R. Herbert as he's listed there. It's and I can understand that frustration though, when you know what you're doing and then you want to and you make a change you expect it to happen, then it doesn't. So I can understand where that frustration would certainly come from. And tell us a little bit more about your real life racing experience. So whatever you can tell us, of course. But what did that consist of?
Well, I did very briefly. I did some tarmac rallying stuff when I was younger.
Yeah, right.
Hang on, something's happened. Or the Herbertron fall off?
Yeah, I think Herbertron just might have had a little bit of an issue there. So these two. Yeah, so a bit of tarmac rally stuff.
Yeah, I had a quite ridiculous car for one stage, which was, and me and a mate, he was really into motor carners.
Oh, yeah.
So he had this car set up for that, and so we sort of mucked around with that for a little while, but very quickly realised we didn't have the budget for it. So I got into RC racing, on-road electric. I've been doing it on and off now for getting close to 30 years, I think. All different categories and classes over the time. So.
And whereabouts, as we're watching Hildebrandt, looks like he was able to just duck into the slipstream of Stevens there, up the straight. Listen to the V8 roar in the Lexus.
The Lexus should be about the fastest thing in a straight line here, I would think.
Yep. He's made made that work in his favour. And then Bridgens finally got past Wally Masterson. Let's watch the replay of this. Despite getting a little bit wide through there, didn't upset the car too much. Get a bit of oversteer and sideways action. It's a little bit of everything in that, as Bridgens takes a spot away from Masterson. So he works his way up into the top 10. Paul Russell just ahead of him. Had that earlier issues at the beginning of the race. So Stevens and Hildebrandt, they've just recently swapped positions. We're into the final 15 minutes of this one. What do we got? So Andrew Lawrence just started another lap not too long ago, 2.5 minutes ago. So lapping 9 minute 11 last lap around. It's a best of 8:15. I wonder if he's had some sort of issue perhaps. I didn't see anything on my screen where he don't, and the car doesn't look like it has any issues, so not too sure what's happened there, but we've got action still on the track. This is Michael Easter getting past Mark Hurley. Have a quick look at that again on the replay. So Hurley just pull over for him. No, I don't think so. He lances the wall there. Go back to live images now. So Michael Easter's worked his way back up into P12. He was last on the opening lap of this one. And now in P12 he's still a fair way behind Wally Masterson. We'll see what sort of ground he can make up in the remaining 13 and just over 13 and a half minutes left in this one. Mark Stevens, so he's currently P2 in the AM Championship. He is currently P7 right now out on track, chasing down Chris Hildebrandt, who recently overtook him. But Lawrenson continues to lead. He's got about a minute gap between he and Ricca, as we see on screen, and then Vinny Canero as well. So tell us a little bit more about I'm curious about the RC racing. What is it? I've never done it before. What is it consist of? What is it in a nutshell?
It's scale model cars.
Yep.
Usually 1/10, but there's pretty much every imaginable scale right up to quarter scale and third scale. My main interest has been electric touring cars for a long time, and then I got back into what's called 1/12 pan cars, which are sort of a bit like miniature Le Mans cars.
Yep.
So that's that I've done most of it. I've done some nitro racing in there as well. Never really got into the off-road stuff, but I know people are. Like I said, Max does 1/8 nitro off-road.
Yep.
So yeah, it's just they're just miniature scale cars. I mean, pretty much everything about them, suspension wise, and that is pretty much identical to a real car, just miniaturized. And they're all usually 4-wheel drive now, except for the pan cars, they're 2-wheel drive.
Yeah. And so the track, like how big's the track, and like is there like a platform you have to stand on to see it?
Yeah, but all your most of your established tracks will have a driver's stand. It's usually 2 to 3 meters off the ground.
Yeah.
Most tracks probably, it's hard to say, but they're supposed to be a minimum of 15-second laps with the top cars, like the modified cars or the top level cars, and then it gets longer laps as you go down through the slower classes. So most tracks are probably, probably sort of maybe 200, 250 meters around the racing line, I'd probably say.
Okay. And where are you? So where are you located? What state are you in?
I'm in Queensland.
In Queensland,
closest to Brisbane.
Yeah, right.
So there's a couple of big clubs in Brisbane, host all sorts of different events depending on the weekend. I think there was one would have got washed out on the weekend, unfortunately, but I think there's some racing on this Friday night at one of the clubs, and the clubs will have their race dates all through the week and month and year and stuff.
Is it popular?
It goes through ebbs and flows. Off-road's always pretty big.
Yeah.
I think off-road at the moment's having a bit of resurgence. So, like, I think there's a club in Brisbane called Chargers RC, which is a big off-road club, and I think they're getting think they had a big event a couple of months ago, and it was over 250 entries across the different classes, something like that.
Okay. Yeah, right. Well, there you go. And what about is it like all motorsport, generally pretty expensive? Is RC the same, or is it a bit more because it's on a smaller scale? The budget's a smaller scale, but I guess everything's relative, right?
Yeah, it's all relative. It can get very expensive, especially at the moment, because there's a lot of the stuff has just increased in price the last couple of years. Most of your chassis now, if you're looking at a professional level chassis, you're spending $1,200 just for a chassis, not including electronics and motors and all that sort of stuff to go along with it.
Yeah. What about 3D printing and stuff like that? Is that quite prevalent within the sort of the community of it to try and sort of save a little bit of cost, or?
There is some people starting to do more of that now.
Yeah.
Some car manufacturers, some of the smaller ones are going that way rather than having to spend the money getting injection molding stuff machined up and made up for them.
Yeah.
There's a couple of open source 3D printed cars that are actually doing interesting things in America at the moment. That basically you can download the files, and if you've got a 3D printer, you can print the car up yourself and try racing it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Which is an interesting way of going about it. It's been relatively successful. I'm not sure how well it'd stand up to top level competition, but I'm sure they'll try it eventually. Someone will try it. So.
Yeah. Well, I feel a little bit more educated now on RC racing. Here's some sim racing. We've got Mark Stevens. He's hung in there with Hildebrand. He's going to definitely have a horsepower advantage up the main straight here, but he's definitely hanging around. Just seeing Lawrenson. So he's just started a lap a minute 20 ago. Last lap around was an 8:13. So his previous lap before that was 9 minutes and 11 seconds. It'd be interesting to see if he does if this is his last lap, or we didn't get the signal, did we? But anyway, Russell just sneaking through on fake near. Let's have a quick look at how that came about. Lamborghini versus Lamborghini, side by side. Oh, a little bit of contact at very, very high speeds, and Russell just squeezes it through. So he takes away P8 there.
Leader is on final lap now.
There we go. Leader is on the final lap. Mark Stevens just continues to hunt down the Lexus. And what's happened here? Nando Latenzio. Oh, this is Mark. This is at the carousel. And he's having to get going again. That's why Latenzio moved up a spot into P15. So James Mack's gone up to Pro Driver category this season, from AM to Silver to Pro.
Right,
so
man, the leader is on the final lap. Give it a final push.
Unfortunately for J-Mac, this is one of those times where liking a track doesn't necessarily transfer to actually having a good time at that track.
Yeah. Well, it kind of goes the opposite as well, doesn't it? Some tracks you just don't gel with, as opposed to some others where it's a better fit. So James McCauley not having the best time of it right now. He's down there in 16th. Looks like we've lost a person as well, which is not a bad attrition rate. Started with 17, have 16 left with less than 6 minutes remaining. So that's pretty good in my book. So this is Herbertron battling it out with Mark Hurley, and the other car on track is Hildebrand and Stevens. They're the two closest cars out there. The gap between Lawrenson and Max Ricca right now is sitting at about a minute, the difference between the two. And this man here, Vinny Canero, he's in a podium position right now, so I think that would definitely be his best result of the season. Currently in third. He started in 10th, so he's moved up 7 spots. Great result for him after last week having some connection issues. Matt Frost again, just Mr. Consistency in the 666. He started 7th. He's in 4th right now. And I think Stevens has managed to get past Hildebrandt.
Chris ran wide in the fast section here.
Oh, yeah. Oh, he gave the wall a hefty little glance there as well on the way through.
Right, man, leader is on the final lap. Give it all you can.
Plenty of notifications that leader is on the final lap. This is not the leader. This is Herbertron down there in 14th position. So Hildebrandt had a great scrap there with Stevens. So he'll be disappointed to have lost that position at this stage of the race. 623. That's James McCauley again. He's teleported back to the pits. So that's night done for him. What have you thought about our first race in... Hayes has turned around. Sorry. Quickly have a look what happened here. So he was doing quite well. He was up in P5. Was Mitch Hayes. And within the last 5 minutes, just the back end, just stepping around and ends up being quite a gentle spin. Doesn't make contact with anything, but loses a couple of spots there.
Okay, the leader is on the final lap now. Give it all you can.
Gets it going, so he's dropped down into P8. He started in P9, but he was running up there in P5, so he'll be pretty disappointed with how that's turned out. Oh, look at that. You can even see those couches up there on scaffolding stands. Yeah, attention to detail is phenomenal around the circuit. Who else? Yes, Stevens. Where did he start? He's in contention for the AM Championship. Perkins is the one that we've lost. So this is going to be doing his championship contention the world of good. Herbertron. Keeps on coming up. So Fately and Haynes are going to battle it out to the death here. But this man here, Andrew Lawrenson, I've got a funny feeling he might have to do one more lap. I know we've got multiple notifications saying the leader's in the final lap, but I'm not 100% confident. 2 minutes left and where he is on the circuit. I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's probably only about a minute from here to the start finish line, so unless he slows right down, I think they'll do another lap.
Yeah. That's what I thought. Let's see, top out at 275 kilometers, 276, 78, 79, 80, 282 kilometers along there, and I reckon we're going to have to do one more lap. It's going to cross the line with still a minute remaining. We had multiple notifications, and yep, we're going to do one more lap. What's happening here? Latenzia and Hurley. And we didn't get a notification this time around either.
I heard it at my end, so definitely heard it this one this time.
Oh, hang on. Maybe because they started in a different spot, though. Remember, they started in a different... after the restart. This could be it, though. We're going to find out anyway. It'd be kind of weird though. Let's wait and see. Arthur Lawrenson in the chat. Great drive again. 2 in a row. 8 hours at the ring on Sunday and the 1 hour on Monday. In some cracking form right now, Andrew Lawrenson. I think he's been in Japan for a couple of weeks. He likes his baby medal, I think, from memory.
I think it was GPing and then, yes, a couple of those sorts of things I think he said he was going to catch and do.
It's definitely an acquired taste, old baby medal. Alright, well, I think he's on for another lap. We'll find out anyway. Here's Neil Fakeney. He's hunting down Mitch Hayes. We're going 000. We're not 100% sure when this race is going to end. Assuming it's going to go for another lap. There you go, he's got the final lap sign on the dash there for Fakeney. So he's continuing on as well. Hurley in the pits. Lawrenson continues on. Gaps at, still at a minute right now. So everyone's still at full tilt. Following along. Stick with Neil Fakeney then. He's hunting down Hayes. 3 Lamborghinis in a row. 7th, 8th and 9th. I was going to say earlier, he's got some smarts on the side. What do you think? What are your thoughts on our first race Rui's history on ACC at the Nordschleife?
Pretty much what I expected. I thought there'd be some carnage. Happened a little bit earlier than I anticipated, but it's been surprising though. A lot of the guys have managed to keep it reasonably clean. I mean, a couple. Nando's had a couple, and that's been unfortunate. J-Max had a couple as well. But most of them actually managed to do pretty well. A couple of brushes with the wall here and there, and that's sort of about it.
Yeah, I think so too. It's one of those tracks I think you said earlier, I sort of mentioned it a few times, it's kind of more just about surviving around here, and when it goes wrong, it can sort of go wrong relatively quickly and in a big way, but everyone has managed to do a pretty good job, I think. We've only had 3 cars that had to pit twice. The rest of the field was able to pit just the once, which I think is a pretty good indicator of decent driving standards around here. This man here is a little bit better than decent driving. He's phenomenal driver, Andrew Lawrenson, and he will take back the lead of the championship potentially. No, he won't. He was 100 points behind Terry Rayton, so still have a little bit of work to do to move up into P1. Will set us up nicely for the remaining rounds of the season. Can't remember where we're going to next week. Alright, so other car, who's that? 177, Hurley. How did you get there, Mark Hurley? What is he doing? What's going on here? Some sort of technical difficulty, maybe. Not too sure. Alright, we'll go back to live images in a couple of seconds. Alright, and it looks like he's still there right now. Alright, don't know what's happening with him.
I think that's a very broken car.
Yeah. Not healthy at all. Where'd Michael Easter get to? P11. Still 50 seconds almost behind Wally Masterson, but credit to him for soldiering on. So, as mentioned, he could have easily thrown it in on the first lap, but he didn't. So, well done to Michael Easter for keeping it going. We started with 17 down to 15. So I think, yeah, first time around here has gone pretty well. I reckon as good as can be expected.
Yeah, I think a couple of guys will be quite happy to not see it for a while.
Can get like that though, can't it? Some tracks. I'm just trying to think of which circuits don't I like. Probably just more rain than anything. Once it gets wet, the enjoyment is diminished.
Yeah, I don't mind if it rains. I hate changeable.
Yeah.
When it rains for a couple of laps and stops and heart's drying out, then it rains again. That's probably what I enjoy the least.
Yeah.
But of all the tracks in ACC, probably the only one I actively dislike is Zandvoort. I just can't. That track just has no rhythm, no thing for me at all.
It is a weird one, isn't it? And that sort of that midsection as well. Those series of when you're going sort of over the roller coaster, and then you got those double right-handers where you got to go really wide and not in hard. Yeah, hard to get a rhythm around there. What else do we have? Paul Ricard, on the other hand, enjoy Paul Ricard. Just trying to find what the next race is. But Andrew Lawrenson should not be too far away. So here he goes up the main straight. So once again, we rehearsed it last time. But as Arthur Lawrenson put in the chat yesterday, the 8 hour of the Nordschleife, and today the 1 hour of the Nordschleife. So over 9 hours, this man has been phenomenal. He's been a class above, and he is not far away from taking race victory. Round number 5 in the season. Andrew Lawrenson is about to cross the line for a very, very well-deserved victory. Congratulations, Andrew Lawrenson. He started in P1. He's got a different livery at the moment, but well done to him. He's round number 5 victor. Congratulations, that is race victory number 2 for the season. He's finished second and first previous to that after a couple of do not start. So well done, Andrew Lawrenson. Some celebratory donuts. This man here, Max Ricca, so he started in P2, and that is where he is going to finish. So he had a little scrape at the beginning of the race. But we've got he's been able to keep it all together, and he's going to hold on for P2, Max Ricca. So that'll do his championship aspirations the world of good. He was sitting 42 points behind Terry Rayton, who wasn't racing tonight because he's got a interstate wedding this weekend. And congratulations, Max Ricca. He takes home P2. Well done. The number 27 McLaren on fire this season so far. 3 fourths in a row and 2 seconds in a row. We're hoping he can convert that to a potential P1 next week. Here comes Vinny Canero. I'm pretty sure this is his best result of the season. He's going to take home the final podium position in the Porsche. He started in P10. And he's going to finish in P3. Well done to him. He's kept his nose clean after the disconnection issues last week. Throwing it through the final quarter, pushing all the way to the end. Vinny Canero, congratulations. He takes home P3 in round number 5. Well done to him in the Porsche as he lets loose on the front straight. Matt Frost is another one. He comes home in P4. Congratulations to the 666. He started in 7th. Comes home in P4. Moves up 3 spots. Mark Stevens, he started in 12th. He's moved up 7 spots, and he comes home in P5. Congratulations to Mark Stevens. He's the highest of the AM drivers. Chris Hildebrandt in the very brightly presented Lexus. He comes home in P6. 7th is Paul Russell in the Lamborghini, the first of a trio of Lamborghinis. Here's Mitch Hayes. He started in 9th. Neil Fakeney, he started in 14th, so up 5 spots. And then we've got a few more stragglers. But Andrew Lawrenson, once again, an absolutely dominating performance around the Nordschleife. And Max Ricca, well done to him. And then Vinny Canero rounding out the podium. What were your thoughts, Adrian?
Definitely an entertaining race. I mean, that actually, when you look at it, that little mid-section there, sort of Frost, Stevens, Hill and Russell, Hayes actually, frankly, they were all quite close together at the end.
Yeah.
So they actually, it wasn't quite as spread out as it sort of, as it might have looked at some stages. But yeah, no, definitely, definitely better than you might have expected it. But yeah, they all got there, so well done.
Yeah, that was enjoyable. So we're just watching Wally Masterson finish off. And next week we're in Silverstone. Oh, that's exciting. We're doing the 120-minute enduro around Silverstone. So why are we doing 2 hours around there? We usually do the 90-minute. So 2 hours is at the end. Anyway, we'll work it out. Here comes Wally Masterson home in P10. Congratulations to him. He takes 10th position. He started in 16th. So well done to him. Michael Easter, he started in P3 and had that issue on the first lap. So had decent pace, but unfortunately couldn't convert. A little bit drifting there to finish the race. So he's going to come home in P11. Crosses the line. Well done to Michael Easter. A little bit bittersweet for him. But it looks like he's a happy man to finish the race. James Bridgens. What is James Bridgens doing? I wonder if he's got enough fuel left. I reckon he might have. I reckon he's going to get there in the end, but it's going to be a very, very slow crawl for him in the BMW. But he's run his tank absolutely dry. Is he going to get there? Oh, he might just miss out here. Where's Herbertron? He's still a ways off, and Nando Latenzio is not too far behind him. Let's see if he's going to make it. I reckon he will. Is there a bit of a downhill slope on the front straight here? No, he's going to make it easy. Look at that, crawling across the line. James Bridgens just makes it. Well done to him. He finishes in P12. And then we've got 2 more drivers to finish. This is Herbertron, as most people know him by. Making his way through in the McLaren. He started in 15th position. As he takes the checkered flag. Congratulations to the 512 McLaren. And then Nando Latenzio is our final finisher. Well done to him, P14. Whew. That's it. And if we all need a t-shirt saying we survived Nords, there we go. Alright, that is all done. But congratulations to Andrew Lawrenson. He was our victor. Max Ricca and Vinny Canero. I think Mark Stevens was the highest of the AM finishes. And the silver finishes, I think, was Neil Fakeney. But we'll work that out next week. Alright. That's it, everyone. Thanks, Adrian, for joining us. That was really good. I thoroughly enjoyed that with you, and you definitely dropped some pearls of wisdom. So you're more than welcome to jump back in anytime. But yeah, hope you enjoyed it as well.
Yeah, it's interesting to do these things, and always got to try something new when you're not racing.
Yeah. No, well, it was a pleasure. So yeah, hope to have you back very, very soon. But that is it, everyone. So next week we are moving to Silverstone. We've got the enduro format, so it's either 100 minutes or 120 minutes. We'll work it out on the night. Until then, thank you, Adrian, for joining me. My name's Nick. Hope you all enjoyed the stream as well. Enjoy the rest of your week. We'll see you same time.